Hi guys, good morning if you're in United States of America and good afternoon if you're in England. It's our first time to interview a therapist, innovator, entrepreneur based in England. That's amazing. Another thanks God it's Thursday again, once again. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening to us. If you are in United Arab Emirates, salam alaikum and welcome if you are in Philippines. All right. It's me again, Dr. Jenny Yusuf, physical therapist and doctor of physical therapist, vice chair of Global Health in Aging Adults, and also certified exercise expert in aging adults. You are in Physiogen PT and Wellness podcast. And thank you so much. For our Thanks God It's Thursday, we have Ben Wain. And Ben is a physiotherapist or physical therapist based in England. He is a neuro specialist. He has more than 10 to 15 years of stroke, physical therapy, education, not only education, I mean experience, Parkinson's disease clients and expertise. And tonight, he will going to tell more about what is a Strolll. Strolll is really another innovation and his experience for Parkinson's disease clients, all right? He's working in NHS, National Health Service, and majority of you knows about that, and it is based in England. Without further ado, thank you so much, Ben, for this wonderful opportunity for us to listen about your experiences and your knowledge. Thank you so much. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for having me. Hi,
You're
everybody.
welcome. Yes, you're welcome. So tell us more about your experience. You told us that you're a stroke physical therapist and specialist in neuro, especially is in Parkinson's disease. What are your experiences or things that you remember the most that you want to share with us about your experience?
Oh, wow. I suppose over a 15 to 17 year period, I have quite many different experiences. I suppose that obviously the one thing that we can really talk about now that everybody is familiar with is COVID and the treatment of patients through COVID, and it's completely changed. Before COVID, it was very much hands-on physiotherapy or physical therapy. Since COVID, a lot of interaction between the therapist and the patient has become virtual. So everybody is using Zoom or Teams or any other forms of digital interaction. So yeah, it's kind of flipped physiotherapy on its head a little bit. I'm a great believer in getting your hands on your patients and that face-to-face contact, but also at the same time, there is definitely now a place in physiotherapy for this virtual interaction with patients. So that's probably what we're going to talk about today as well, with the use of our Strolll devices.
Yeah, when you say Strolll devices, I met Michelle as well. I see
Mm-hmm.
Strolll and not everybody are familiar with it. But once we find out in Facebook, there is a wonderful innovation. I interviewed lots of people already with this new innovation about virtual reality. I learned what is the difference between augmented reality and I'm really enjoying it. So we want to learn more about the Strolll as well. And before that, you say something about Parkinson's disease and stroke patients. What do you love most? Why neuro? Ben, I am geriatric and we interviewed orthopedic physical therapists. How about you? Why do you think your passion is more on cases?
Oh, yeah, great question. So over my career, I've practically covered all of the specialist areas in physiotherapy, from pediatrics to musculoskeletal, also respiratory. And then probably about 5 to 6 years into my journey as a physiotherapist, I sort of migrated to neuro rehabilitation. And the reason for that is because with neuro rehabilitation, you have such an ability to make an instant change to somebody's life. You work very hands-on with your patients. You are basically taking somebody that is a normal individual and then overnight they can become severely disabled if they have a stroke. So they can become very dependent on carers, on family, on physios, and having that ability to work with somebody either short term or long term and get them back to where they used to be, or on the path to getting back to where they used to be, is very rewarding as a healthcare professional. And I just fell in love with neuro rehabilitation and all the neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's,
Yeah.
MS, stroke rehab. So yeah, having that ability to get hands-on with the patient and really making a difference, and not only making a difference within my practice, but to that person's life. You know, they're very reliant on you as a therapist to really help them and push them and get them back to being as independent as possible.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing something about your personal passion, right? And so you're already treating different cases, different setting, you know. Here in America, we also have acute care. I am working in home health and acute care, and that's really challenging when you say about the COVID cases. Imagine
Yeah.
that is really more difficult on ours because we need to come to their home. And we
Mm-hmm.
have these cases that they really denied or declined us to come over to their home, you know, until more PPE is developed, and 95 mask and
Yeah.
everything, face shield, you know. That's good also that telehealth is now, and you're using that as well. So regarding the stroke, can you tell us more about it? You prepare some PowerPoint, and
Yeah,
if you
sure.
can give a feedback about what is Parkinson's disease in some ways, because I think that's one of your case or neuro education that can be covered. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you
with
so
with
much.
Strolll, I'll share my screen shortly, but with Strolll, we currently focus on Parkinson's patients only.
Yes.
So our devices or our software technology is mainly focused at Parkinson's patients via a therapist. So you would have to have a therapist overarching your rehabilitation, and all of the exercises and etc. are prescribed through your physiotherapist. In the future, we're looking at working with MS patients and also stroke patients, and then further down the line, other neurodegenerative diseases. So let me share my screen with you guys, if
Thank
I
you.
can be so bold. So what do you see? Do you
Yeah, I
still
see
see me?
I see the whole computer, not the whole. All right, that's better. This is now the whole presentation. Yep.
Okay. And you still see the whole presentation?
Yes, yes. Only for
Fantastic.
yes, that's better.
Okay, so obviously this is me, Ben Wain. I am the clinical director for a company called Strolll. In a previous life, like Jenny said, I was a physiotherapist. I currently no longer practice physiotherapy. I have gone over to the commercial side of things. So I've gone to Strolll as their clinical director and their advisor on all things clinical. So that's me. That's my email address, and please, feel free, anybody that's watching, to reach out to me either by email or LinkedIn, and I'll post that later for you. I'm quite happy to answer any questions that anybody has. So like Jenny said earlier, with regards to augmented reality and virtual reality, I suppose if I was to ask anybody what virtual reality was, I'm sure that a lot of hands would be raised, and most people would be able to answer what virtual reality is. But I'm not sure that so many people would understand the term augmented reality. So I'm just going to explain the difference between the two. So virtual reality is something like Oculus Rift or the PlayStation VR headsets. And the VR world is something that you are completely encased in, that you have no vision or understanding of what's going on beyond that virtual world that you've been placed in. With augmented reality, the glasses that you use are basically the same as my reading glasses, whereas you can actually see your environment still, you can interact with your environment, You can see a chair, a table, a family member, a patient, a therapist. But within that environment, we can overlay digital content, whether it's games or any kind of information that we want to be displayed, and you can interact with that digital content within your actual real world environment. So Strolll currently is an early stage startup company that, like I mentioned earlier, is focusing on developing the software for this AR, or this augmented reality technology. So we don't actually produce the hardware. So we don't actually produce the glasses. We partner with both Microsoft, who produce the HoloLens, and also Magic Leap, another American company who produce the glasses. And we simply develop the software that can be uploaded onto these glasses, and then used by therapists and patients alike. In the UK, we currently are partnering with several NHS sites, so national health sites, to basically prove the concept that this is a viable way to use for your physio to prescribe exercise that can be done both in clinic and at home. And we have also received funding from the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which I'm sure you're aware of over in the States, that solely sort of focus on Parkinson's at the moment. With regards to Parkinson's and Parkinson's patients, our augmented technology and software is basically based on cueing techniques. Now, I'm not sure if I'm sure we can discuss this after, Jenny, but in the UK, cueing techniques are often used by therapists, and they're either visual, auditory, or haptic cues. And a cueing technique can be something as simple as 2D lines or 3D lines, something that helps the person with Parkinson's basically bypass the damaged part of the brain. So if they have any gait issues, such as fascination or freezing of gait, we can help overcome these with the help of these types of visual or auditory cues. And let me just play a short video for you. Let me see if this will play.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to play? It doesn't look like it wants to play. No.
Not yet. Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. So one of them's playing. So you can see at the top, on the top right hand corner, this is a gentleman that really struggles with his mobility, has lots of freezing, lots of fascination. And we put these 2D lines on the floor, and those 2D lines didn't make any difference to this gentleman's mobility at all. But when we place 3D lines on the floor, so they're slightly raised, the difference was significant. So he goes from really struggling to, when we put the 3D lines on the floor, you can see that his stride length increased. He had no issues with stepping at all.
Yeah.
The 2D lines made no difference to this gentleman at all.
Wow.
So yeah, so the difference is significant. And
he's not using the glasses yet. It is all like improvised
so
from us externally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he wasn't using the glasses at all at that point. What that slide basically shows you is that we are able to change somebody's gait pattern by using a visual cue. So what we've done with the glasses is create a whole library of these visual cues that can be used anywhere, anytime. So that patient can only use those visual cues for a short space in a clinic, for example. What we've done is we've put together a whole library of visual and auditory cues. So when a patient is wearing the glasses, they can call upon the cue at any point, and it will help them overcome that fascination or that freezing of gait. So you can see on the slide here, we have dinosaur footprints, 3D obstacles, 2D lines, water plank, and in the bottom right-hand corner, you can see what a person actually sees when they are wearing the glasses. So these 3D cues can be placed on the floor at any point, anywhere, anytime that the patient needs them. Wow. And the good thing about these cues is that every single cue is extremely personable. So you can change the color of the cue, you can change the length, the width, the height. You can add an auditory cue, such as a metronome, a piano sound, rhythmical footprints, or left, right. You can do so many things. And the reason that we've created such a huge library of cues on the glasses is to help people. What we found in the UK is there are other companies at the moment that do visual cues, especially, such as a laser line. I'm not sure if you have that over in the States, but it is basically
Yes.
a line that is projected on the floor,
Yes, yes.
either from a walking cane or
A walker.
a walking frame, exactly. But what we found is over a period of time, the patient develops this habituation to that particular cue. This cue becomes less effective, and sometimes even no longer works. If that was to happen with the cues on our glasses, we can change them and keep the brain guessing over and over again.
Okay.
So I'm going to play you a short video now.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can hear the sound. I'm not sure if you will be able to, but if you can't, please let me know.
Okay.
And it just shows you the immediate effect that the glasses and the cues have on somebody's walking, have on an individual's mobility that has Parkinson's.
Okay.
Can you hear the sound?
There's no sound, but it's working.
Okay, so here on the left hand side, you saw, let me go back to the beginning and I'll show you that all over again. So on the left hand side, this is a gentleman that came in, and you can see this is his typical walking pattern. So he really struggled to stride out. He really struggled to get any speed to his steps. We put the glasses on him. We put the cues on the floor, and you can see the instant effect that it has on somebody's ability. This lady is basically saying it's like a miracle.
That's his wife, or
that was
patients?
one of the ladies at the Parkinson's group.
Oh, okay.
And this lady basically is just saying that it's fantastic to see people walking around with no walking sticks. You know, they're really striding out, the look of joy on their face, all of those nice comments. All of these videos are on my LinkedIn that I will share at the end, so you can please feel free to go in and look at as many of the videos as you like. So not only do we have the whole library of cues on the glasses, but we also have a whole library of exercise games. The whole point behind the exercise games is that your therapist can create a exercise program for you in clinic, and you can then be given the glasses to take home, and you can then complete these exercise programs at home asynchronously without your therapist being present. And all of the data, all of the scores, all of the distance walked, all of the time spent exercising is then fed back to your therapist via our web portal. So your therapist can change a game if they feel it's too difficult, change a game if they feel it's too easy, switch a game in, switch game out rather, put another game in. And each one of our games is based on a clinical outcome measure, typically used within the UK by therapists. And what we do is we take components of each outcome measure and we reverse engineer that component to create a specific game. So at the minute on the glasses in the library of games, we have 5 games. And over the next 12 months, we're looking to build that library out and ultimately have anywhere from 15 to 20 games in the next 12 months. And then in the next 24 months, aim to have around 30 to 50 games in total.
That's a lot.
Each game, yeah, absolutely. And each game, like I mentioned earlier, has a clinical relevance behind it. So we don't just ask you to play any game. There is a clinical reason that we ask you to play each particular game. I won't go through all of these clinical reasons on here. I don't want to bore anybody, but I will go into the games and show you what they look like in a patient's home. So this one is hot buttons. This is what the patient would typically see. So you could go in, you could change the difficulty level, the time limits, the game mode. On hot buttons, you can select whether you want to use your left or your right hand or both. It does a quick calibration of your typical reach. It then creates a grid of 3, 6, or 9 buttons. And the
Mm-hmm.
aim of the game is to hit those buttons as quickly as you can with either left or right hand without stepping out of that area. So
Oh,
here we're training a person's functional reach, dynamic balance, dynamic
nice.
standing
Mm-hmm.
balance in this case. We're encouraging extension throughout the trunk.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool. We have like that the pods, so they don't need to have those external gadgets. It's all augmented.
Yeah, exactly. So everything is augmented. You don't need any
Mm-hmm.
equipment at all. You don't need to store equipment, maintain
That's
equipment. You literally
cool.
just need a pair of the glasses.
Mm-hmm.
That was hot buttons. This is basketball. So this game is specifically designed for sit to stand practice, which of course, as a
Okay.
physiotherapist, you know is extremely
Mm-hmm.
difficult for patients with Parkinson's to actually get up and moving out of the chair. So we have 2 modes. We have a squat mode, or we actually have a sit to stand mode.
Mm-hmm.
So on
Cool.
level 1, you are required to do 3 squats to generate 3 balls. You can then pick the balls up and you can throw them, score baskets, and collect points. And you can actually see the physics of the game when the balls bounce. If they were to hit
Yes.
the table, they would bounce off the table and interact with your actual real world environment.
And that's really his how he shoot. So if it's really exactly and it will really shoot and it's not. That's really
Exactly.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a timer and score.
So yeah,
This
you have
will
a
not
timer,
bore
you have a
them.
score.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
That's
I mean, if
cool.
I was to ask, if I was to ask my typical patient to do 10 sit to stands or 30 sit to
Mm-hmm.
stands or 40 sit to stands, they will get very bored, very tired, very quickly. But when
Yeah.
we gamify everything and we put it in an enriched environment, the participation and the adherence to the therapy programs actually goes through the roof.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
We
Mm-hmm.
have one called Puzzle Walk.
Mm-hmm. Walk.
So the idea of this is you can select levels of where you want the puzzle pieces to appear. So you can have a high reach, a hip height, a knee height, or even floor level. And the puzzle pieces are generated within a certain training area. The
Oh.
patient then has to go and collect them from certain levels. So that's floor height.
Mm-hmm.
Place them on the easel.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then obviously the higher the level, the more pieces that you are expected to collect. So this is a really low level. We only
Mm-hmm.
need to collect 6 pieces here. Super easy, but it really gets your patient either bending,
Yes.
turning,
Mm-hmm.
walking. If you set them at a high level for reach, you get that extension through their trunk again, correcting their posture.
Wow, that's really good. It's dynamic math. Oh, congratulations. Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
good.
Absolutely. So this is what I really wanted to sort of focus in on, really, is the fact that obviously there are many other companies out there that do gamified exercise,
Mhm.
and there are many other companies, but we are the only company in the world that is able to integrate the visual cue within the exercise themselves.
Nice.
So if you had a patient that really struggles with their freezing of gait or their mobility, they have that fascination in their walk and they can't participate
Mm-hmm.
in types of exercise groups. If we can find a visual cue that really works for that patient, we can then integrate that visual cue within the game itself, so we can
Yes.
overcome those freezing of gait episodes. What we normally find is the games themselves are enough to um, preoccupy the brain, so
Mm-hmm.
they almost forget that they have these mobility issues, and they really go full ball into the game and really get engrossed in the game. But if they aren't able to do that, we can then include these cues, which like I mentioned earlier, we are currently the only company that can do that.
Mm-hmm. That's
This is
really
more for the therapists out there. So this is the typical portal that you would have. So
mm-hmm.
we would provide you with this software that you can access from any PC, laptop, or tablet. You would have your whole list of patients here, so you can see your patient ID. I've got John Doe, Monica Brown, Rick Small, etc. You would have your entire caseload of patients. From there, you would be able to select one patient. So if we selected John Doe, I could go in there, I could create these exercise programs for John Doe consisting of any of those games that I've just mentioned. And you could schedule those games to appear on any day, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, all the way through Sunday. As a therapist, you get all of that data coming back from the glasses on their adherence to the programs, which for me as a physiotherapist is extremely useful, because I now have full understanding of how my patient complies with what I'm asking them to do. Because sometimes I ask a patient to go away and do a program, and they come back and I can tell that they've been cheating a little bit, maybe, and they haven't really fully completed what I've asked them to do. But with this data, we can see their adherence to the programs, any scores, any distances they may have traveled, any freezing of gait episodes that they may have had, etc., etc. And all of that is you can export all of this data into your patient notes, either electronically, or you can print it out and put them into their paper notes. In the UK, we use a system called Soap Notes. I'm not quite sure if you guys know what Soap Notes is.
Yeah, we did that too.
Okay,
I
superb.
was in Abu Dhabi, and that's what we use as well, the SOAP. Subjective, objective assessment and plan.
Exactly. So all of this data that is fed back is automatically put into the Soap Note format that you can then edit before you then export and transfer them to electronic records.
Nice.
This is for the UK only. And that's me. So like I said, there's my email address. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, please do so. Just type in Ben Wain. I'm sure you'll see me, and then give me a follow, and then please check out all the videos.
Thank you so much, Ben. A quick story about that. I like the name because I keep thinking whenever I email, do I have the right spelling? Is it double or triple L? And I know that
it's triple L.
What's
because
the story
of
about that?
the line.
Oh,
the triple L is for the lines, for the cues. So our founder, his name is Tom Finn. His father has Parkinson's disease and also dementia. And the way that the company all came about is because of some lines that were placed on the floor during a trip to the physio clinic. And then Tom purchased those lines, brought them home, and put them down in his kitchen at home. And his dad all of a sudden just got up and started to walk. And Tom had this little brainwave and thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we could put those lines anywhere, anytime, in any space? And that's how it came about.
I saw that video. That's one of the video in the Facebook as well. And then I'm just about to ask you about the story of Tom Flynn. I forgot his name. So that he is the founder, and that's brain idea. It always happening, Ben. Every time it happens to our family, and that's the innovation kicks in. Sometimes some of them, they're the patient themselves for the knee, and then it sparks to their idea, why don't I do this? Because of the mom or the dad. And for Mr. Tom, it's more on his dad, who has Parkinson's disease, which is also dementia. We have many stages, by the way, of Parkinson's disease. Do we have, as a clinician, have a way of knowing that this particular lower stage will be in this activity, and then this one that are already wheelchair bound but able to stand in some ways, this is a good activity? Can we find it there as well in the library?
So as a clinician, I base my treatment, and I'm sure many clinicians out there base their treatment on a scale called the Hohen-Yahr scale that is ranked from 1 to 5. And your patient will fit on that scale at either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. 1 is typically newly diagnosed, not really any sort of significant motor issues at present, maybe just the start of some mobility issues. 5 is usually wheelchair bound, bed bound, usually very end stage Parkinson's, and then everything in between, 2, 3, 4,
Yes.
can obviously you can have a range of symptoms. Our product is typically designed at anywhere from 2 to 4,
Okay.
and that's what we're looking at the moment. Obviously, you can have somebody with stage 1 that doesn't know anything about verbal cues or visual cues, and you can do an education piece using our augmented reality glasses. Or even level 5, you can have a patient doing wheelchair-based exercises. So there's no reason why they
Yes.
can't do the hot buttons sitting down. They can do, there's other games that they can do sitting down, and we're looking at other games in the future. But currently, we're looking at patients 2 to 4 on the Ho and Yaw
Okay.
scale.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think they can modify it, even I think the basketball while they're on the chair, just keep shooting, we have those
Yeah,
Paralympics
yeah,
basketball. And then I agree with
absolutely.
you for the reaching while they're sitting.
Hmm.
That will be safer for them knowing that it's augmented. It will not really block their surroundings. They will not be
Exactly.
afraid that I really don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm in different place. Now they still feel that they're on the bed, they're in the
Yeah.
chair, so it's
And
not too much
they
advanced.
can still see
Yeah.
their normal environment. Absolutely.
Yes. So that's cool. Thank you so much. Is it now out in the market or when it will be out or how can the availability of this, Ben?
So currently we've just achieved CE mark in the UK and Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So we can now sell the product in the UK. At the moment, it is, but it isn't currently available in the UK. We are just trialing it with the NHS at the moment to gather the clinical evidence to say yes, it's a viable way of delivering therapy. And we are currently in the process of just achieving, I think it's FDA in the States. So obviously,
Yes, FDA.
once we have FDA approval, we'll be looking to partner with some of the big clinics over there. And our CEO has recently just come back from a 3-week tour of the States where he's been visiting the Mayo Clinic, New York Presbyterian Hospital, all of the big hospitals over there. He's been out and seen all of those guys, and everybody's shown significant interest. But obviously, we need that FDA approval first.
Wow, congratulations. This is really a great innovation. Will help all our clinicians, of course, the patients as well. So thank you so much, Ben. How can we connect with you? You already showed the LinkedIn, the email, and then any closing remarks for our listeners and also our audience?
So basically, for me, especially as a physiotherapist, is just keep moving. Do anything that you can to keep moving. Exercise has been proven time and time and time again to be a really beneficial way of fighting and slowing down any sort of particular Parkinson's symptoms. So yeah, speak to your therapist, get them to give you a specific bespoke exercise program, follow it religiously, and just keep moving.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And I think you're an exercise enthusiast as well, right? So
Yeah.
I remember. So thank you so much, Ben. We really appreciate your time. Again, guys, if you have any questions for Ben, based in England, he has amazing knowledge. And also thank you for sharing the Strolll for us here. And this is a great innovation that will definitely help our Parkinson's clients. I am an LSVTB provider. We do big movements, like we always teach that, and that 3D itself make that kind of visual
Yeah.
cues for them to do those things, so that will definitely help them. So guys, if you have any concerns, questions, and we have the LinkedIn and other email contacts of Ben, and connect with us with Balance and Fall Support Group in Aging Adults in Facebook and Physiogen PT and Wellness for us to provide different webinars and interviews like this. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day. It's me again, Dr. Jenny Yusuf from Balance and Fall Support Group, your geriatric physical therapist. All right. Bye for now, guys. Thank you.